Hello, my name is Patricia and welcome to my channel and my series Mystic in the Matrix. If this video has found you, then perhaps we're having a awesome alignment, and I hope that you can find a message or enjoy my stories and take something of value away today. So thank you for stopping in. So today's topic is going to be the ego. That's a really big one for me because through the years, I've heard over and over and over again that our egos are, that we need to get rid of our ego. We need to control our ego. We need to do all these things with our egos. So this comes from the spiritual community, spiritual teachers. It comes from philosophers. It comes from a lot of different places to portray the ego as this dirty little toxic thing that must be dismissed or dismantled and destroyed. And the rebel that I am, that's what my ego says. I have learned to embrace my ego. I treat my ego well, and yeah, I love my ego. Your ego's your personality, and it's okay to say, I love my ego, because your ego is you. It is your personality. It is the part of you that participates and allows you to be here in the matrix. If we were just souls walking around, we wouldn't be having the same experiences. You need to have a body. You need to have that personality. You need to have that ego. Now, going back to how the ego is bad and it stops you from evolving and it does this and that, it's not the ego that actually keeps you from evolving or being an asshole. What does that is the programs that this matrix are applying on you from the day you come through. It's all these programs. Think about it. Think about how we're taught to disprove of how we look, disprove of how we are. The ego is the term that they use. So it's not that your ego is toxic, it's the programs that are being put into your ego that are toxic. So let me explain, and this is my personal opinion. This is not something I've read or actually have had a discussion and agreement with anybody about. This is my personal thing, and I will tell you the story of how I got there. I believe the ego is the collective consciousness of your body. It is the fullness of your personal avatar. Let me share my story with you. So years ago, about, 10, 11 years ago, I was in a very toxic relationship, as I used to be a lot in the past. But this was my last relationship that I was in, and it was toxic. And when that individual had left, I was covered in psoriasis. And I tried taking medications, do the pharmaceutical route first, and that got me nowhere. So then I went the holistic. I went into my spiritual being. I pulled out my shamanism toolbook. You know what I'm saying? So I created a space, a healing space for myself, private, no one could come in. Like candles, saging, and I did do some mirror work as well with this. And basically what I did was, and I also had oatmeal too. I made an oatmeal paste and I put it on my body. And as I was putting the oatmeal on these patches of psoriasis, I was talking to my body the whole time. Spirit, body, all of it. I was embracing it all. And I did this for 3 days in a row. And during that time, it was a really beautiful moment because I spoke to my body, and it was in this meditation, this awareness. It was that, when we talk about the ego, how it's always thriving, it's always striving, it's physical, it wants to exist, it wants to take over the show. Well, think about this for a second. Your physical body, your avatar, gets one time at this life. When it goes, our soul leaves. Our spirits, our energy, we evolve, we move on. But what doesn't? Yeah, the ego. And so this is the ego's big chance to have a life and to enjoy it. And I think that's kind of why it takes over a little bit. But again, the programming that comes into it. But naturally, your ego wants to take care of you too. Like your yes, fight, flight, survive, all that kind of shit. But your ego wants, it's in the game. It wants to survive. It wants to win. And so it's about finding balance. If you want to live that spiritual life, you have to find balance, and you have to find this connection with your ego. Again, it's the ego isn't an asshole. The programming that's gone into it is. All right. Now I came up with my own little. Everyone's got their little abbreviations and things. Ego, EGO. What I came up with from this, and this is a really interesting thought, and just think about it for a little bit, you know? EGO, evolving God organically. How many times have you heard in the spiritual world that we are here to expand God's consciousness? We are here to have those experiences. Well, that's your ego. That's your ego having those experiences and learning and taking the hits for you, man. Like, think about what your ego has gone through in this lifetime already. The shit that's happened to it. So, you know, instead of beating up your ego, instead of trying to remove it and be this perfect being, learn how to embrace it, how to hug it, to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for giving me another day on this planet to evolve God organically. So yeah, that's why I have a big problem with all these people going, oh, you got to get rid of your ego. No, learn to embrace your ego and just get rid of those stupid fucking programs that are just awful, that make people want to hurt people. The ego doesn't want to hurt you. It wants you to live. It wants you to thrive. And so, again, just another example of that force out there in the world that wants to belittle us and make us less than who we are and what we are. Embrace your ego, folks. Ooh, yeah, so don't forget, give a like, subscribe. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate you, and I will see you in my next videos.